everyone, I'm Sita and I am super excited because in the studio today we have the wonderful author of this brilliant book, You're Snug With Me. It's Chitra Soundar. Hello Chitra.
Hi Sita.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, I'm very happy to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here because I read this yesterday and it's quickly become my favourite book of 2018. I absolutely love it. It's gorgeous. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it? What's the story about?
So the story is beautifully illustrated by Poonam Mistry.
Yes.
And it is set in the Arctic.
Yes.
Where a polar bear mum,
Yes.
mama bear, is going to have 2 babies.
Yes.
And she settles into her den and the babies are born. And they're very curious about their surroundings.
Yes.
So they want to know about where they are and what will be later when they get out and what kind of place they live in.
Yes.
And the mum answers a lot of their questions, just like I think little kids also have lots of questions.
Yes.
And it kind of parallels that to say you can ask lots of things and find out more about the planet you live in.
Yes, absolutely. So as you've said, the key characters are these polar bears, the mama polar bear and the baby polar bears. And I know you've brought some polar bears in with you today.
I carry them with me everywhere to schools and show the children.
Yes. And what do you think, like, how do they engage with the characters of polar bears? Do they know a lot about them already?
They do. I think even almost all children are very interested in animals.
Yes.
So they know a lot more, and then they ask questions like, the color of the polar bear, and we talk about the translucent skin.
Yes.
And then there was a 4-year-old who told me, but you know their skin underneath is black. And yes, so they do know a lot about it.
Yes.
And then they also we do a song with the book, and then they do all of that with me, all the actions with me.
Yes.
It's glorious to see them all. They're just listening quietly.
Yes, amazing.
And all the animals, they love naming the animals.
Yes.
There's a spread with the marine creatures, so they got all the whales and stuff like that.
Here we go, yeah. And we've got an amazing jellyfish.
They love naming all of that.
Yes.
And then they have a spread with the seals and the walruses.
Yes.
And the foxes and the hare.
Yes.
So they do guess about the birds, and so they love all the other animals that we talk about.
Yes.
Because every planet, every habitat is not just for one creature, we're sharing it with everybody, and that's kind of the theme of the book. So the children love talking about all of those, and then the props help, because then we show each of those and talk about it.
It's a brilliant message about sharing the planet, and there's another key message about looking after the planet, which really spoke to me a lot about how we're taking care of the planet today and how important it is for young people to learn that, because they're the next generation of people who will help in terms of the environment. Would you like to speak a bit about the importance of that for you when you're writing this?
Yeah, and it is their planet, and we are going to leave it to them.
Yes.
We haven't done a good job about it, but children are extremely socially conscious.
Yes.
There was a school where the kids actually said, oh, we shouldn't use more plastic and we shouldn't throw straws.
Yeah.
And we discuss, every time we talk about the book, we discuss how they can contribute. So they say, oh, we probably should switch off the taps. And so they do know. And it's great to share that in a very subtle way.
Yes.
Because they understand it in a much more intuitive way. So the polar bear babies ask the mom, can we go wherever we want?
Yes.
And the mom says, only where the land lets you walk on it.
Yes.
And it's more both from a safety perspective,
Yes.
because the ice might crack.
Yeah.
And also from, just because we are big, we don't have to go everywhere and take everything.
Yes.
And also she says we can only take what we need,
Yeah.
and we don't have to be greedy about it. And there's a beautiful picture that Poonam has kind of used that to put the hare in front of the bear.
Yes.
And the children always ask, will the bear eat the hare?
Yes.
But it might not if it's not hungry, and that's what about taking what you need comes from. So that's kind of, and then there is a message at the end of the book. Both Lantana's publisher, Alice, and I wanted to leave a message to tell them to go and find out, be curious, ask questions.
Yeah.
And help the planet for yourselves.
And I think it's such a brilliant conversation starter because, as you say, it's really subtly done. We're really following these characters and their journey through the beautiful landscape that they inhabit. And it's actually by subtly saying, we need to keep the oceans clean, that you can start that conversation with your child, or whether it's in school or at home. And I think actually for me, this is the perfect nighttime book. It's the perfect bedtime story because of the key line, "You're snug with me," which is a line that's repeated all the way through. So you can imagine speaking that to your child, gently getting them into ready for sleep. Do you want to talk, how did that line come to you? "You're snug with me"?
First book has a line which is "You're safe with me," and so we wanted something similar for the second one.
Yes.
But you're in a cold environment, so we wanted something warm and snug.
Yes.
So Snug was chosen, and I think Alice and I discussed it when we started, and we said, okay, it has to be polar bears.
Yes.
And it's going to be snug and warm, and their fur, because one of the main reasons why mum polar bears hibernate, because polar bears don't normally hibernate. The mum polar bears hibernate is because the babies are born without fur.
Right.
So they need to be snug with their mums
to keep them warm
until they grow fur for 3 months, which is why they come out in spring.
Wow.
So they go, when the mum hides towards like this time of the year, so November, autumn has almost set in fully, and then she hibernates.
Yes.
The babies are born, and the 3 months of winter, they have to stay inside while their fur is growing.
Yes.
So that they can get out into the Arctic in spring.
So are they born black?
They're born black.
They're born black.
Yeah.
I've never seen any pictures
They look like
of them.
tiny guinea pigs.
Really?
Yeah.
Like tiny guinea pigs. And I know you've got some other really exciting facts about polar bears at the back of the book. So to end this, I'll ask you some. But before that, why don't you talk a little bit about the beautiful illustrations? Because it's so special. As you can see here, like we've got all of the kind of stars and the planets, and it's really intricately done. It almost reminds me of a henna pattern, you know, when you have the henna on your hand. How did that come about?
So that's Poonam's style. Poonam uses the kalamkari art, which is a fabric art design for her artwork. And one of the reasons we were matched for the first book we did together was because my story was set in an Indian forest.
Yes.
And she brought out the orange and the reds of it beautifully with kalamkari fabric art.
Yeah.
So basically she'll draw the outline.
Yes.
And then she'll draw the patterns in all the geometric patterns, and then she'll fill them in. And for the first book, because we use kalamkari art, but the Arctic book, she went and researched a lot of Inuit fabric patterns.
Right.
And she's kind of mixed them both so that you get the flavor of the region from which the story is told.
Yes.
At the same time, you get a little bit of the heritage of the illustrator.
Yes.
It takes her 1 whole week for 1 full spread.
I'm not surprised.
So it takes 15 weeks to finish a whole book.
Because of all the detail.
And sometimes it could take longer if she needs to decide on the colors for each spread as well.
Yes.
And this one has got lots of silver and gold.
Yes. I think a really fun activity, if you have the book, would be to actually try and draw like this, because look at all of the details of the snowflakes, and it's perfect for the winter festive season, isn't it?
So we have a snowflake artwork on our website,
Yes.
which people can download and play with, and colouring sheets and stuff like that. So it's amazing. Or people can just learn, children can learn to draw.
Yes.
If you just draw an outline of an animal,
Yes.
and then fill them with triangles and circles
Yes.
and lots of patterns, and then colour them in different colours.
Yes.
So a perfect winter time activity when outside is so cold and blustery.
Yes.
You can sit inside warm and snug.
Yes, warm and
And do
snug.
colouring.
And if any of you at home would like to do that, we would love to receive your pictures. They could even end up on our studio wall, so send them in if you're going to draw some. So it's time. I would love to hear maybe your top 3 facts about polar bears, the most interesting ones that you know.
One is obviously the polar bears are born as tiny as guinea pigs. They're black in color when they're born.
Yes.
They can't hear or see.
Yes.
And their skin is always black, and they have these fur which is has what they call translucent. It reflects the light of the ice. So that's why it shows up as white. Now, if the polar bear travels out of the Arctic into the towns, like for example in Canada, it comes down to Manitoba, and it stays outside the cold regions, it starts growing algae.
Oh, right.
Because it's not supposed to be outside the ice.
Okay.
And it can turn brown as well.
Really?
So it likes to stay cold. That's one of the reasons it doesn't hibernate. And that's one of the reasons we have to look after the planet.
Yes.
Because if the ice melts, the polar bears won't have anywhere to go.
So we have to look after our planet. So thank you so much for coming in today. I can't recommend this book enough. You're Snug with me. Thank you, Chitra.
Thank you so much.
So we have Jen reading the story on our YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out, along with lots of other book readings. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Sita.
I'll see you soon, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Today's book was chosen by Pop-Up. Pop-Up Projects are the creators of an exciting and unique children's literature festival for schools across the UK. Oh wow, that was amazing! Don't forget to like, subscribe and click on the bell button so that we can let you know when there are even more fun videos to enjoy. I'm going to choose another one.